Welcome, IT changemakers, to the DEX Show with Tim Flower and Tom McGraw. Let's get into it.
Hello, changemakers. I can't tell you how excited we are at Reality Bytes about today's episode. As you know, it's one of the Reality Bytes episodes that we call the show within a show within a show, where we talk to fascinating Nexthinkers. And this is the Nexthink 20th anniversary special episode. So when we were trying to think of who we would pull onto the show, who would be the perfect guest to mark the 20th anniversary on Reality Bytes, somebody, a colleague of ours, pointed out that Nexthink still has its original first ever employee still at the organization. So look, when we say people love being a Nexthinker, we're not kidding. We're not kidding. So I'd like to. We're also joined, I should say, by Sean, Megan, and Oriana. But our special guest today is Gregoire Jaunin. Greg, welcome to the show. The first ever Nexthink employee. We can't believe it. So happy to have you.
Thank you to have me. It's a pleasure.
And people can probably figure out approximately how long you've been here, right? Since it's our 20th anniversary. But have you been here 20 years on the dot, or is it a little less than that?
No, it's less than that. Actually, I joined in January 2006.
Okay. And how did you have much work history before this long stint, Greg? What were you doing prior to Nexthink?
Actually, I was actually coming back from the States, where I worked for Microsoft and various startups in the San Francisco area, and so I was kind of looking for a job, and I found Nexthink. A little bit depressed at that time because actually I was coming back from the States, actually staying at home with my kids for a year, and I was eager to work, I'd say.
Okay, got it. So they took you in. Are you from Lausanne originally? Are you local?
Absolutely, I'm from here, and I studied in the EPFL and a little bit in France as well.
Got it. So did you know the guys are all from EPFL? Is that your original connection, or is that just a coincidence?
No, the connection was about. I don't remember quite well, actually, I have to say, but I think there was kind of like a forum for the startups in the PSC, which was the place where all the startups were at the EPFL, and I think I saw the job offering there.
And what were you studying yourself at EPFL?
Oh, I studied networking, actually. But I did software engineering from the beginning, so I was more like a software engineer than a network guy, I would say. But it still helped me from time to time to know exactly what the network is doing.
Yeah, I can imagine. And how did you come to work at Nexthink? What was the process there?
I mean, the process was quite standard. Actually, I responded to the offer. Then I got an interview with Pedro. I remember that the interview was pretty good. I was pretty impressed with him. Actually, he was pretty young as well, but very mature. Then we went to the single room office that was actually Nexthink office at that time. That will be my office for the next 2 years, I guess. And there I saw Patrick. Patrick did a demo of the Future Finder that was called the Supervisor at the time, and I was pretty impressed because actually it was nice UI. There's not so many startups with a UI that is as nice as the Finder, the Supervisor was at that time. So I was really impressed that. So Pedro gave me some code to crack. It was not the best code ever, I have to say, and I re-implemented. That was my first task, to re-implement what I was given as a challenge, as a test. Then they kind of hired a HR guy that I saw him only once, and we went with Vincent, Patrick, and Pedro in a room, and then there was a classic, question answer type of things. And the thing that was actually special in a way, that the same evening, Vincent called me, and he called me for an hour. I don't know, long, and he kind of try every angle. And I'm not the kind of it's not type of thing that I like per se. If someone tried to sell me something, I'm kind of directly at the defense level. But I realized that he was doing that in a very, very good way. So in a way, I was very happy to see that actually the team, part of the team, there was a genius salesman. So that was kind of
So
very quite.
Vincent, I thought you meant Vincent was giving you for third degree, but you're saying he was trying to convince you to join, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Or convince himself. I don't know. Actually, probably it went in both directions. I don't know exactly.
So did you have any
But
did you have any hesitation about joining such a young company, or was that par for the course for you? I mean, you were the first employee,
no,
probably the first time you've been a first employee, right?
no, I don't think so. It's not actually. I did startup all my life actually, except Microsoft. That's actually I joined when the market was so down in the States in 2001. So I did only startups. So I can, I don't see that as I was not seeing that as a bad thing to be in startups. More a good thing.
Got it.
Actually.
Got it.
More joining a very mature company would have been more difficult for me at that time.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I like to hear that they were giving you such scrutiny. I think you should. I think your first hire's got to matter, right? Like that's got to be an important one. Might be the
You
most
should not.
important.
Well, you should not screw this one actually, at least, because of course, if you are small, actually, like you are part of three, so I mean, you count for sure.
Yeah. We've got Oriana with us as well. I know Oriana has some questions for you too, right?
Yeah, but maybe we can just keep going with what we were just talking about. Can you tell us a little bit about your first role and what you were hired to do and what you did specifically?
Yeah, of course. Well, I was hired as a senior software engineer, something like that. I don't know exactly. So it's senior software architect, kind of the default role for that time at my age. And in a way, it was clear that things were well divided. Actually, there was Pedro doing the driver, that would be the collector afterwards. Patrick doing the supervisor, that would become the finder, and Vincent selling the product and doing the investment actually. And so they was missing someone for the engines. So my first task was to actually to fix what they had before. They had at that time was what's called the K engine, K for knowledge, and engine. So it's K1 engine, knowledge one engine, and actually the engine was in poor shape. So when I joined, it was kind of crashing quite a lot. Threading was actually not really well understood, and every evening we had to restart it. So I mean there was a piece of software that was actually that needed care. So the first 6 months I did that. For 6 months we kind of fix it in the sense that actually it was not crashing all the time, but we still had to reboot it every day because it was based on Postgres SQL server, and with the amount of data that we can ingest at that time. Actually, after 1 million event, things was not actually performing well. And after 6 months, we started to develop a new one. And after 2 years, we finished, and that was actually the in-memory database that we have right now. And well, of course, the version that we're right now has been enhanced for 20 years, but it's basically the same ideas, and maybe probably the same code is still in the current experience engine, I would say.
Oh wow! Can you tell us a little more? Like what do you remember from those sort of earliest iterations of the technology?
I think well, it's difficult to say 20 years after, but I would say that
There.
we had an AI part, and that part I was not so fan of. So in a way, I was also doing the developing the Bayesian network that we had in AI, and it was working. I mean, people were impressed, but it was not absolutely. It was not deep actually. It was kind of a surface type of thing that it was difficult to manage when we have an issue. So this one I was not very actually a fan of. And we had this tons of event coming from the driver that would be the collector. The event was really, really simple. So way much simpler than now, actually, just connections connection without traffic, nothing. But then with the time, this was kind of, I don't know, maybe 6 months after that, I realized that actually the fact that we have those events, the way we process them at that time is actually we separated the time from the when from the what, in a way. So we remove the time. So okay, what you have done, and then we were looking at what people were doing, and that was very powerful because time, like the timing of things are very. It's like a noise. You do that at that time. It's a noise. You have to store the noise and you have to explain the noise. And if you say, what have you done? What is your action? Without saying when you did it, or actually only, then you have something very meaningful that you can look at, like the parallel coordinate. You can maybe analyze in a better way. So I mean, I think that at the beginning, when that it was inside the initial technology, but we really realized that we can separate those two concerns. And when I realized that, I think that was pretty powerful. And it's still pretty powerful. It's what we do, basically. So we show what people are doing. We show less when they are doing it.
Yeah. That must have been a real sort of revelation when it worked out.
Yeah. It was kind of took time, but we.
I'm sure it did. Can you tell us a little bit more also of your impressions of the founders when you first started working with them?
I think I have to say that I was impressed. And I did a lot of startup, I mentioned. And I mean, when you do a startup, there's a lot of tension in it. You have tension because you have to kind of change where you go. You have to decide a lot of things. You have the VC. You have, it's very stressful environment in a way at the beginning.
I bet.
And actually, Pedro, Patrick, and Vincent, they were a good team. Actually, they were nice people, and also they had a low ego. So the ego was not actually something that they were overdeveloped. So they were able to talk about things that were really, in a way, difficult in a very nice way. And yeah, Pedro was actually had the vision. Patrick was keen in the details, the UI, which is not something that you find everywhere. And Vincent was really a genius salesman, and he was able to sell and to convince actually customer. So it was really a winning team, I would say.
Sounds like you've had a lot of experiences with startups to compare that to, too.
Good and bad, yeah. Yeah.
Maybe I'll pass it over to Megan. Megan, do you have some questions for Gregoire?
I sure do. Hey, Greg, it's so nice to have you on this podcast, and I'm really enjoying listening to your perspective. It's so funny. I've only been at Nexthink for like 2.5 years, so I've only known Nexthink as this fairly, I wouldn't say large, but 1,000 employee kind of company, well-established leader in the space. So it's so funny to think of it being 5 people in a room, trying to put something together. It's cool. I'm wondering if you could share any like funny stories or memories from that time.
Well, I have a few of them actually. I can tell you what I at one point I was really excited about something. So we did the engine 2.0, so the current engine, and as mentioned, K engine was kind of going up and down, and we had like support cases from Rolex, and so we came up with this brand new engine that we developed. So there was a bank in Geneva that we had to go to the bank and install the K engine and so on. So we installed the K engine with the pre-sales, and then we kind of give it to them, and I did a little bit of teaching how to use it, what was the different options, so on. And then we left, and nothing happened actually. Things were actually completely silent for a year, and after a year, I said, okay, well, what is happening with this bank? Actually, we have to kind of keep the connection alive. So we went there with the pre-sales, and there was the same guy, and he was actually using it every day. So every day using it. He had like tons of specific rules for this case, for that case. It was amazing. So he was So yeah, no problem, no problem. I'm using it. It's working fine. Excellent. So we were happy, and then I went to the engine, to the server. This time the thing was virtual, so it was a physical server, so I had to attach physical terminal. So I ran the magic command that we had, which was nxinfo. That was like an interactive terminal to the in-memory database, and then output was saying, okay, uptime 350 days, and number of processes even 2 billion. So I mean, the thing actually worked like a charm for a year without any problems, processing all the events. And so I was so happy. I was like, yes, that was cool. That was cool.
Nice.
And that was we had like other stuff like what less obvious, like we installed our software in a hospital in Besançon. Actually, it was called the CHUB, the University Hospital of Besançon, and I don't know when it was, but we crashed all their servers. Everything was dead. Oh my god, that was so stressful.
Is that a hospital, did you say, Greg?
It was a hospital. And
no, not an important business then, not an important institution.
No
harm done,
I think no harm has been done, yeah, because we run over there. Actually, it was kind of an update of Microsoft that actually changed something, and we crashed the server. So we were able to uninstall them, and yeah, we realized that actually that was not a joke. And then we hired the first official kernel developer, that was Vova actually, and he's still with us. And he did he took over the connector, and that was the last time that we had such a bad adventure, I would say.
Startup blooper reel there. I love it.
Yeah, it must have been very satisfying to realize that your product had just been working for a year. And then the other story I'm glad that isn't happening anymore. That's crazy.
I mean, now we have serious tests. At that time, actually, the test was about going to the EPFL, the student big training room, deploy manually the collector on the student's machine, and see what was happening. That was the test.
That's cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
We have to start.
That's awesome. I guess thinking back to that time, then did you feel like Nexthink was going to be as successful as it became? Like, did you have a sense of like this startup, especially given that you've had so much startup experience? Like, did you have a sense that this one was something special, that it had staying power? Or if not at first, was there like a moment or a milestone where you realized Nexthink was here to stay?
I would say that first we were always successful. It's not that but not at the same scale, of course. But if you think about it, Vincent was able to convince, also maybe Pedro, I don't know, was able to convince Rolex to install it. So that was already a success. And then we kind of we had like a large part of the French part of Switzerland, then of Switzerland. So really we cover quite a few enterprises. So it was really a success. And we moved to France with the DRZ, the French army. Then we kind of expand in Europe, then in the States. So in a way, I would say that we were pretty much successful from day one. Not always at the same level that we are right now, but I mean things were going really in a good direction. Maybe in 2008, it was kind of different because actually we had this collapse of. At that time, we had Yassin in the Middle East, and actually we were able to with the DRZ, with the Middle East, to leave those hard times. But except that, I think we're good. For an anecdote, I would say that one of them was the fact that at one point I realized that that Nexthink was actually becoming something serious when I went to the beach with my family. And we sat in the beach in Lausanne next to the lake. And in front of me, there was someone with Nexthink documentation, reading Nexthink documentation on actually probably on Sunday or Saturday. That was kind of interesting. I would have never thought that someone could read the Nexthink documentation on the beach on a weekend. It was kind of funny.
That's funny. That person probably needs to work less, but that is a cool experience. That's funny. So another element of like Nexthink history that I feel like I heard about really quick joining the company, and so maybe it's, I don't know for everyone, but for me, it's certainly the most famous part, was that we moved from being called a security vendor to into what we now know as digital employee experience. So what kind of memories do you have from that period and that sort of decision to change focus?
I don't know, actually. I don't think we changed focus so much because in a way, we were in security business. Actually, we were not exactly we were not a firewall, actually. Our pitch at that time that the company threads were inside the company, either as because people were actually exporting data or looking at data they were not supposed to do, or they were impersonated. So someone took the ID of someone else, or I don't know, you had like a Wi-Fi connected to the main network. So I mean, what we try to do is really to see if what the user was doing was normal or not, and to trigger an alert based on that. So it's why we had AI actually that was to detect what is your normal behavior, and are you moving out of this actually normal behavior? If you do move out, how much do you move out, and can we actually tell you the criticality of this delta? And that was pretty much what we do. So between that and say, okay, the customer, someone is happy with his or her PC, and then what is his experience as with the digital world? There is not such a difference, actually. I would say, I mean, the thing is who you are actually talking to. In a way, the security world was a world that was crowded with solution, in a way, yeah? And people invest again and again and again, your firewall, and then intrusion detection software, and then whatever, VPN, and then, that was kind of and so us as a company going that market that was already crowded and with people spending a lot of money, we realized that if we can build slightly on the side with the same technology, maybe the same ideas as well, we had like a much easier way to sell our product. And I would say these things have been realized. I'm not sure it's completely correct, but I realize it at least. At one point, we had to do something. After actually, we as a customer, we had Royal Canin, and Royal Canin was actually asking us to detect things, actually see how many users was used, something slightly different than our classic use case. And then for that, we used the new engine. So, okay, well, the new engine had like a programmatic interface in Lua, actually, based on it. So I kind of, Pedro took this programmatic interface and wrote scripts, and then we came up with a report that was way more than what we used to do, and people were really happy with it. So at that moment, we realized that actually the data about security was important, but the rest actually was actually also a gold mine. And so we kind of shift our focus, and by .3, I would say the .3 release, so maybe 2009 or something like that. I know, I would have to check. Was really no more about security. So we kind of get rid of the first AI bias in networks, and focus on really the behavior of people. So we had not only execution by connection, not only connection by execution, and so on. So we built on top of that, and I think the focus was fairly natural in a way. It was not like as you kind of this was not a big jump. It was just an evolution and finding the right market for the technology that we were in.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's almost like we realized the even bigger potential of the technology that you've developed.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right, I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Sean.
Thanks a lot, Gregoire. You've mentioned already a lot of great stories. I'm curious, when you look back at the growth of both the technology and the company over the last 2 decades, what stands out most to you?
I would say Well, there's a couple of things. There's not one thing, I would say.
Makes sense. There's a lot there.
There's a lot. I think the key innovation was the in-memory database, because it was kind of 2007, 2008, I don't know, that area. So it's really allowed us to do much better than the competitors, because it was kind of very fast. We can ingest with like a commodity hardware, something that people need like a dedicated cluster to do. So we were able to have something lean, fast, and powerful, replacing other way bigger solutions. So that was like the first key element. Then we kind of, we do everything we could do on that technology. And maybe, I don't know, 2015 or something, we had like a session with some of the key developers, and we put everybody in the room and they came up with the collector as it is now. So when I say that, the collector before that was just reporting data in UDP with not really not something that you can configure, something that you can really rely on. When we did that, we end up with a collector being able to act, engage, to process execution. So it's basically the collector that we have right now. And I mean, this is actually, that also actually allowed us to have a way richer set of data. Then what else? In 2018, we started the cloud initiative. Actually, in a way, we started that also 2014, but it was not successful because it was not mature at that time. But 18, we kind of ported what we had, like the V6, into the cloud, and we decided it was like a significant effort, but we were able to take what we had and move it to the cloud, automatize the full process, so kind of a one-click installation for a new customer. And it was really a success, actually. It was a real success. So it was our first actually cloud offering. And then I think the bold move was in 2020, we decided to re-implement the basic solution and what would become the Infinity and Experience Infinity. That was something, actually, I have to say, because actually you start from redesigning a full system from a more or less a white paper, and it's not that we kind of had like we do from 0 to 100 in one shot, and I think we globally we did zero mistake, which is rare, I would say. It's very rare. I'm not saying that we do zero mistake all globally, but strategic mistake, we took the right technology, we developed it in the right way. So ClickHouse, Kafka, the BCS, the collector management, the UI, everything actually that we came up with at that time was a success, actually. So I'm in this spot here. I think I'm very proud of it, I have to say, because it was not given at all.
That's brilliant. That's great. Thank you for laying all those out for us. I guess taking a step back, then, you mentioned you started most of your careers in startups. Thinking about your career here at Nexthink, how do you feel like it's developed during your time, and then what's your main focus today?
Okay, I mean, globally it's up and down now. I'd say I even left Nexthink for a year, but it was good for Nexthink because when I came back, I left for a cloud company. I did some cloud stuff, so I was able to experience. When I came back, Pedro asked me to came back at one point. Say, okay, why not? Let's do the, and then I was able to actually focus on the cloud, and that was really good for me for Nexthink as well. So I was really happy here. So I don't know, actually. I think globally, myself, I have to say that I'm happy I was able to do significant contribution to the product, to the technology, to make key changes. So globally, I'm very happy. And currently, I'm focusing on the collector. So I'm trying to kind of move the collector to ahead and to design actually a new architecture for the collector.
Amazing. That's so cool. It's I had no idea you'd had a year off though, Greg. Like, I didn't know you betrayed Nexthink. I would have totally reconsidered the
I
whole
didn't portray Nexthink.
Oh,
Actually,
I'm joking. I'm joking.
and you know what? I mean, not only I came back and I did the cloud, which was actually I think very good for Nexthink, but at the same time also we hired a couple of very excellent people from my previous company. So I think for Nexthink globally.
Oh, you betrayed the cloud company. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. So it does sound like a win-win. So I'm sure.
It's clearly a win-win. That's right.
And I've absolutely loved this trip down memory lane. Some amazing stories there, and I think you're a great testimony to what makes the company quite special. And what we often ask this, but we do expect an answer for sure in this circumstance, which is, what do you like most about being a Nexthinker? There must be something, I'm sure.
Well, first, I mean, it's not the same thing, actually. Are you asking me right now or 20 years ago, actually, or 10 years ago?
As you like.
Yeah. 10 years ago, or like maybe, it was a big family.
Mm-hmm.
So I know everybody knew everybody. You don't know. You knew not only the employee, but the wife of the employee, the children of the employee. Actually, we had like a very vivid company with, as I said, ego was one of the key factors of hiring someone, low ego. So everybody was kind of playing with each other pretty well. And so that was kind of what made me a Nexthinker, like in 2010 and maybe 12. And then we moved to a big company. You cannot expect a big company to be a family. That's made no sense, actually. So now I would say, you have to reconsider, why do you think you are a Nexthinker in that case? Because actually
things change.
Things change, of course. It's not the same thing. So I mentioned that actually in 2020, we did it again. So we decided to make this big jump. And that is what I like, actually. In a way, I mean, if you think about it, so in a way, Pedro or whatever decided to do that, Vedan or both, or everybody together, I don't know exactly how do you build that? So, but in a way, we decided to do something that we had actually zero idea how to do it. Not zero idea, but like just ideas how to do it. But in a way, we trusted the engineering the engineering organization to deliver, and we did it in a way. I mean, that's something that is so. I mean, you need trust. You need to trust people, to trust engineers. You need to be relaxed, because calm and relaxed, nothing is as straight as it is. And you have to have a big vision. So this part I love, and I mean I see that every day. So it's not only that case, but that case was particular, I would say, big.
Wonderful last sentiment, Gregoire. And again, real pleasure to have you on. I hope you get your second Rolex at some time in the next few years. And congratulations on being the first employee and having made such an amazing contribution to these last 2 decades of Nexthink. And I hope to have you on the show again sometime, mate. Maybe when it's not an anniversary month, and we can talk about other things.
It was a pleasure. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Greg. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
To make sure that you never miss an episode, subscribe to the show in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast player. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, make sure to leave a rating of the show. Just tap the number of stars you think the podcast deserves. If you'd like to learn more about how Nexthink can help you improve your digital employee experience, head over to nexthink.com. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.